Why do people do it? You look at humans in general, anthropos. Um, you have these. I think they term them as tribes or groups of people. And when it comes to religion, people. I don't think people really realize that they choose their own religion. They choose their own way of interpreting Christ and God based on their personal points of views. Peter said, after Jesus said, "Are you not going to walk away too?" And Peter replied, "Where else are we going to go? You're the Christ." I doubt anyone thinks about that when they choose a church, if they go to one, or they subscribe to a certain way of thought. Do you think there are people out there that say, I hate this church, I hate the band, I hate the people, but it's correct. I don't think that situation is possible, but that's not how people choose churches. They go to churches because they like the people and they like the band and they like the preacher or the father or the priest or whoever they are. They go there because they like it. I don't think you really care about the Bible, and that's why religion is so bad, because they're not looking at the facts. They're looking at the surroundings. They want to elevate themselves, make themselves feel better and holy. They're seeking a substitute. A lot of them aren't even aware of it. A lot of them aren't aware of prayer. Of course, they know about prayer, but they don't know. I didn't. I accidentally found out about it. And with God's help, that's where I am now. It's not because of anything I did, but I did ask. I did ask. And these people, they start to come up with a way of thinking of their surroundings and the influences of their surroundings. So if you go to a dispensational church, you're going to become a dispensationalist. Some people like to hide that and they call it what they call it, non-denomination, which is a lie. It's like Amway when they changed their name. They're still Amway. They just changed their name. Same business model. It's the same church, same dispensational type church, because they needed to separate themselves from it. It became like a stigma. They just reinvented themselves. And you go to other churches like the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church and the Calvinist Church. They all have their different points of views. And I don't think I've really met anyone that subscribed to what they're saying 100%. It seems like the higher they are, up in the ranks, the more agreeable they are to what they're saying. Totally. And they'll fight to the death for that view. But the only reason they have that view is because of the church they go to or the people they hang out with. That's it. That's all. That's the reason why they take the view. Um, I was writing a doctor. He's some doctor. I think he's a dispensationalist. It's out in North Carolina. And I asked him, why did he do it? He calls himself a doctor and he teaches there, and I know he doesn't agree 100% with everything, but he does it anyway because that's his job. He's put himself in a really bad position to be honest about everything. Because what if one day you got up and you read something and you're like, oh, my view has changed? You know what they do? They they keep it to themselves. Horrible. And it doesn't matter where you go. Uh, there's this Slade Stone guy. that I've been watching, and he's a preterist. I'm trying to understand this preterism. It seems like they're saying kind of the same things that I am, but in a different way, and I haven't really quite caught on. It's because they don't know what they're talking about, I suspect. They just it just kind of make, because it doesn't make any sense. But it has to do with the kingdom and New Jerusalem and all that, and you know, you hear these people, you hear all of them. People like Bart Ehrman. Oh, just, you should hear it my way, and you should listen to me, and keep an open mind, and I say the same thing. But I say keep an open mind not to what I'm saying, but keep an open mind to Christ and what he said. Because, these events didn't happen in the Greek language. They happened in either the Aramaic or Hebrew, most likely here, Aramaic. So we don't really know what was said exactly. And that comes out in a lot of the manuscripts that we have. They say things that just aren't possible in other languages, the Aramaic one. But it's not a big deal. People are so caught up about that. It's not a big deal. It's the message that matters. Love God before everything. I mean, it's pretty easy to understand. That's like saying you have to learn Koine Greek to understand the Bible. You can't translate it into English or Japanese or Chinese or Korean or African, whatever languages they are, or Spanish. You have to learn it in Greek to understand it properly, or you're going to be a heretic. That's what the Catholics try to do with the whole Latin thing. But this guy, it's like, why do you do it? Here we have this dispensational teacher. He has a position. Here, this guy has his own YouTube channel, and I ask him questions, and he doesn't answer. He has an alter ego and a ghost account that he answered with. I know it's him. I could tell just by the way he talks. And of course, he didn't answer me. And I test these people all the time. I test that Don Preston a few times. You ask him a couple questions, a couple lame questions, he answers it. Then you ask him a question, he doesn't get back to you. You ask him the same question again, he doesn't get back to you. Then you ask him a lame question about it. I mean, I could toy with these people a little bit. And I'm not trying to screw with people, but I'm trying to get an answer that people just won't answer. They're not being honest. They're not being honest about who they are. Like I said in this other video, like Bart Ehrman is his alter ego. He's not who he was when he was a kid growing up. He's become an alter ego. You look at these celebrities. Why do you think they have such a horrible life? They're doing drugs. They're killing themselves with drugs, because that's not who they are. Chris Farley was not, the person he was you saw on TV. Michael Jackson isn't really the person that he was portraying. That's why these people have all these problems. Like the politicians, they get away with it. They're able to. Bart Ehrman gets away with it because why do you think they're so old? And they're still professors, and that's because they have to. If they don't, they'd probably blow their brains out 2 seconds after they retire. Other people have to retire. I won't name names, but some people were pushed out. But they've filled their lives back up with the same type of academic pursuits. They have to, because they will jump out of a window just to escape themselves. They have to. And you have these people that fill themselves with this theology. It doesn't matter what kind of theology is, as long as enough people agree with you. You look at the preterist crowd, they don't have a very big crowd. They don't. They got a following. But it's the same thing. You could be a preterist or a dispensationalist or a Catholic. It's the same thing. Same nonsense. Just you subscribe to something and that's it. And the point of this is this, very important. How could you understand what's being said properly when you yourself don't understand what is being said? These events didn't happen in the Greek language. They didn't happen in the English language or the Spanish language. Jesus walks up to people and says, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood," and everyone's screwed off. The ones that stayed, they only stayed because they could see it. It's a hard lesson, but that's just the way it is. That's the reality of it. You have to understand there's a reality to this that I don't think really anyone's aware of. It's not about you at all. I don't think God cares less about your opinion. I doubt he's asking for anyone's opinion. I really don't. Do you really think that he is? Do you really believe that? You think he really cares about you and your opinion, what you think of things? How could you? Because you don't even know. I don't know. I've studied this Bible to the nth degree, and it doesn't get any clearer. Yet these people take these positions. And then when I go to them and I say, well, what about this and what about that? They can't even answer it. They can't answer it because, one, they probably don't know, and two, they know that I know. And I really do mean what I say. If you study the Gospels completely and understand them, you don't have to learn Greek, just read them. Do you think generation, for some reason, in Matthew such and such means something completely different than the way the author has been using generation the entire time? That's stupid. Of course not. If they wanted to, they could just say something else. Greek has like a million, what is it, a million plus words with singular meanings. I don't think I said that right, but there's a reason why it was written in Greek, okay? Because it can be defined. And if they wanted to define themselves in another way, they could have. They have the ammunition. So if they wanted to say something then other than generation, they could have easily done it. And that doctor takes this position. The guy's a doctor. How could you take that position? So when Jesus walks up to you and says, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood," well, that's not my understanding of it. That's not what us Presbyterians believe. You turn around and walk away. And I guarantee you it's not going to be something that you're going to recognize. Jesus is going to walk up to you and say, "I want you to eat my shit and drink my cum, drink my sperm," in a non-sexual way. Okay? Something disgusting and horrible. I'm trying to think of something grosser than that, but I think that's about the biggest extreme I can make. Isn't that disgusting? In a non-sexual way. But think about it. That's how the Jews thought about what Jesus said. In our culture, in American culture, we've been really desensitized to blood and gore and all that kind of stuff. But the feces and the semen, that's something else. That's about as bad as you can make it. And if Jesus said, "I want you to do that," are you going to believe him? I don't think I would. But if I heard something, and this is the way you need to train yourself, if you heard something like that, you could say, "You know, that's pretty disgusting. A homeless person that just walked up to me in the street," because that's basically what Jesus was. Like, could you imagine like 12, 13 homeless people walking up to you with a bunch of other homeless people behind them and say, "I want you to eat my poop and drink my semen, Cody." First of all, how do you know what my name is? But if it was said in a way that resembled something, it would make sense. It may not make sense to that point, and you have to understand this is why you need to be easy on yourself. You know, you could be one of those seeds that fell on rocky soil, but you can change. There's a new season every year. Every year that seed gets thrown out, and it's redone over and over. Those stories, that was an analogy of the end that was coming. But if you use the analogy in this way for yourself, You can change your mind at any time, but you have to think about it. You have to pray about it. You have to reflect and understand what is being said, what God is trying to pull out of you. Do you get it yet? Do you get it yet? Do you understand? These people don't understand. If that doctor and that Slade Stone guy had myriads and myriads of countless of other people that use the same thing, oh, just, hear what I'm saying. Hear me out. Give it a chance. But they don't give it a chance. I've tested them. I've talked to them. They aren't listening. That Slade Stone guy, I think just this morning came and he said, oh, you're Luke 17:21. I don't agree. But they don't give any reason why. Now, I've had Bart Ehrman. I've argued with this. And again, like I said, if you understand the Gospels, just the Gospels, just let's just say the 3 Gospels, if you understand them, you know everything. You know everything that there is to know. There's a lot more information. Who cares? Who cares about, I don't know, Tacitus or the Church Fathers or Martin Luther or anyone else? Who cares? In relation to what Jesus is saying. I mean, what Paul says pales in comparison to what Christ is saying. He's saying it in his own way, just like I'm saying it in my own way. Just like me, who cares about what I say? Who cares? But if you understand what Jesus is saying in the Gospels, you will know everything. Me, a person who didn't even graduate from high school, beat Bart Ehrman, and I have proof. It's on his blog, unless he took it down again. He's taken stuff down before. I'm not kidding. But I got photos of it, screenshots. I beat him. Why? Because he took a loser argument, a loser position, and he has a loser argument, and he thinks no one's going to know, and everyone thinks they're going to know. And just like the Slade Stone, the same thing. He doesn't know. It's just what he likes. It's what he's used to. It's his position. He's never actually thought about it. He'll never come up to me. It's funny, on my ticker it said 17:21, right when I said that. But he doesn't, he just holds on to something that he's already had. If you look at Bart Ehrman, he's a futurist. He's just like the people that he debates. He's just on the other end of the spectrum. He just found a niche. He created one. In the preterism, it just depends on what they prefer. But the Slade Stone guy said he was the type of dispensationalist as well. But people carry over. It's like a disease. And it carries over into something else, and it carries over into their thoughts. He says be open, but he's not open. He didn't come to me and says, you know what? I disagree because, for example, 1100, there's this guy who wrote about something that another guy in 100 AD wrote about, who was a disciple of Luke, and et cetera, et cetera. And actually, it can be in the midst of or among. That would be great. I would love to hear something like that. I really would. I've spent well over a year, probably $4,000 or $5,000 on consulting fees for classicists and researchers to figure this stuff out. And it's right there. I already knew it was right there. But getting the information, besides Ilaria Ramelli's, study on it, actual and taking it further than that, okay? Where did it originate? Where did it come from? How did it start? When did it start? Okay? No one can say anything about it. Not even Bart Ehrman. He can't. Because it's a fact. But the Slade Stone says, well, I don't agree with you. But what he's really saying is, I'm not open to what you're saying. I have an opinion and a view, and that's it. So he's a fraud. He pretends to be a nice guy. He's, love your brothers and sisters. But it's not very Christian, is it? You're not being loving. You're lying. You have this alter ego that you respond to emails with on your YouTube because you can't do it yourself. At least a doctor has the balls to say what he's saying. But he can't answer the question either. He made some statement about, oh, where did you learn Greek? And I said, well, I don't know Greek. I have 3 classicists that I hire to do this research for me. No reply. I replied to him again with something. Kind of, why do you do it? Why do you do it? Never heard back from him. It's amazing how shallow these people really are. I would go to this church when I first started out, and I was so happy to go to church, and you'd ask them a question. Oh, what's this third temple? Oh, that's Ezekiel's temple. Well, where's that at? Ezekiel, I don't know, 50, whatever. I don't know what it was. Oh, cool. Then you go back and you say, I was looking at it, and there's still circumcisions and marriage going on, but Jesus said there is no circumcisions or marriage. How do you explain that? Well, they just get pissed off. Because that's all they know. It's just this, and then they move on. But there's nothing there. They're lying, and they know they're lying. But they continue to do it. Like the Slade Stone guy, when I talk to him, he doesn't have anything to say about it. None of them do. That Don Preston guy, I think he's their guru. He's the preterist, God. Their preterist God, their guru. He didn't even know. He wouldn't answer me. He answered all my other questions on my stupid... I asked him a couple of difficult ones. I asked him one difficult one and 2 easy ones. And I sandwiched it in between this. Wouldn't answer me. Did it in another count. Actually, there's 3 times I asked him the question that he wouldn't answer. When you send him an email, you get an email back saying, hey, I got your thing. I got them all. But he won't answer it. Why? Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he's busy. Maybe he just doesn't have time. It doesn't matter. But it seems to be quite a trend. Little old me can't answer it. Isn't that disturbing? Look at myself. I look like I'm one of those blue screens. Like I got a blue screen behind me. I can see. That's my real backyard, by the way. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's real, but it looks like kind of looks like a blue screen. That's my backyard. It looks kind of funny. But it's just amazing to me that these people confess, oh, I love Jesus so much, and hallelujah, and they're not at all concerned with what's being said. Even though it's really hard to figure out what he's saying. But then again, it's not that hard. But they won't look at it. And in their videos, I've watched probably 10 hours of Slade Stone's. I've consumed that much video. I've been watching it, trying to figure out what these preterists are up to. And I can see why people are calling them frauds. Because when it comes to this, after Jesus, after his coming, it's just like everything's spiritual. Everything's spiritual. Jerusalem never really existed before. I don't know what they're doing. But it's so simple. I do. And you figured they'd welcome it, but they don't. Oh no. Not for a second. They don't welcome it at all. They fight it. I'm talking to another guy right now. His name's John Paul. I like John Paul. He's a nice guy. I don't think he's deceiving anyone. But he's doing the same thing. He's coming from a certain type of church, and they have certain types of views, and then he's changed his view. But all of a sudden, this view is it. And he does look at it. And I wrote him back, and I kind of think maybe he's looking into it. I think he's that type of person that will look into it. But I think what he does, at least till now, and I think, no offense, John, but he's looking for ways to reaffirm what he's saying. And that's a mistake. How hard is it to say, well, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong? It always has to be something. And you can't do that. It doesn't exist. I can tell he's not reading the New Testament. I can tell who reads the New Testament and who doesn't. I can tell who is just reading other people's books and then maybe looking at the verse themselves and saying, oh, cool, or just, little snips of this and here, and it's just a collection. But it's no substitute for the real thing. And it's easy to spot. It really is. Because it doesn't make any sense. I'm not a smart guy. I've read the Gospels and parts of Revelation well over 100 times. The three Gospels and John, well over 100 times. I'm not kidding. In the past 4 years. How long have I been retired? I'm 45. I retired at like August of when I was 41. So that much time. I don't know. What is it? May? Almost June. And I have to read it 100 times because I don't really get it. I've actually read that John Miles book, and I've had it for well over a year. I don't know how I got it, but I read it. And it's not bad. It's just the same old story. It's just a regurgitation of everything else everyone else is saying. And I'm trying to challenge him, and we'll see if he gets it or not. And it's not even if he gets it or not. I take that back. It's not that he gets it or not. It's that he can look at it a different way than what he's used to. That's the whole point of this video. That's what I mean. Can you see it? But most people can't see it. If you tell someone that the two Jerusalems are two different places, they just does not compute. Right? Does not compute. Because Don Preston didn't write a book about how it is. So if someone stole my idea, okay, and of course I'm sure there's people that already have, and that's fine, as long as they say it the right way. But they want to separate me from the idea. They want the idea, they don't want me. And if someone were to do that, like a Don Preston, everyone would just start to believe him. They would. If he came out and said, you see this view, it's heretical. This isn't the preterist way. Everyone would believe him just because of who he is. They wouldn't know why. They wouldn't ask why. They'd say, oh, that's what my guru told me to say. What if somehow I'm not? Let's just say I'm an ungloe. I'm a messenger. I'm an angel. I'm Jesus. Let's say I'm Jesus, and I'm saying these things to you. I don't agree. Why? I don't know. Because that's not what Father John Brown told me what it was. Sorry, Jesus. Are you even going to think about it? Do you think these people really think about it? No, I think they just get angry. They give up. They don't even bother. But maybe they do think about it. Maybe that doctor's like, why do I do it? Why do these people come across me? I didn't seek out that doctor's channel. I didn't seek out Slade Stone or John or any of these other people. I didn't. There's many others that I've challenged. Can't do it. People don't. You'll notice. I think maybe there was, but people don't get on my message part of these videos and say, I disagree and this is why. That doesn't really happen. I don't get a lot of negative people. I think they don't really care. And the ones that do watch it, just like the people that give thumbs down, they watch it for a few seconds and they find out it's something that they don't agree with. They just give a thumbs down and they just click off. So people aren't really listening anyway. But what is wrong with the truth? What's so bad about it? How could you say you're a disciple of Christ when you're not open to what it's saying? If I were to take these exact same people, and let's say they grew up in a North Korean concentration camp, and then the Koreans said to them, the North Korean said, look, you're free. Your great-grandfather committed a crime. 3 generations has gone by. You're now free. And I gave them the New Testament. I walked up to them and said, hey, come here for a second. I want you to read this. somehow they were capable of understanding everything. You know, I kind of look at this. There's this Alex O'Connor kid, kind of like that. Like, he's capable, he has the knowledge to be able to read and understand things. But if you took this person who just came out of this concentration camp and you asked him to read this, and then you said, "What do you think?" I think I think it will be more preterist like. I don't think they'd be able to draw a lot of conclusions. Kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, new heaven, new earth, age to come. I mean, they're not word for word exchanges. Sometimes these words can mean different things. Is Mark describing in him, on him, towards him? You know, you can kind of make your own decision, but really you don't know. So why make a decision? If you decide that it's in him and Jesus comes up to you and says it's upon him, you say, "Oh no, it's in him." And you just lost. You're not listening. You're not really listening, are you? And if you're not listening, how could you learn? I just made another video too about this transition from, you know, a mortal person and to something that is striving to enter the kingdom of God and that has made it. They don't really know about it. Like, I look at my life and I can't tell you the exact moment when it happened. A lot of people say their baptism, whatever, but when did it actually happen? I don't know. But it did. I could tell the difference. How can you obtain that? How can you reach that point when you're not even listening? But at the same time, you can. You just have to have faith. But that's why people don't really like me. Because here I come and I confront them. And I say things like, "Oh, what about this or what about that?" And they just give me their answer. Knee-jerk reaction. Is it right? And some of these people know that it's not right or that it could be wrong. But they just rely on their intuition of what they've been taught. So it really doesn't matter. They're just going along with their crowd. That's why religion and God have nothing to do with each other. Because religions make decisions. Does that rhyme? Religions make decisions? You can't make a decision. You have to say, my decision is what Christ said. And if I found out he said something different and I was mistaken, which you will, I guarantee you these versions, you will discover that you've been manipulated. You gotta say, well, that's my point of view now. Say you convert it from Greek into Aramaic, which I'm sure is coming. I'm sure it's already here, but people want to say, well, I want to hear what it says in Aramaic. And it says, Jesus was a purple dinosaur with a sombrero and 2 6-shooters. That's different. You gonna believe it? That's what it says. You gonna believe it? Or are you gonna say, well, we already have this established religion, and we're gonna start coming up with excuses based on the words that they use or the context of the situation or all these other stupid arguments that everyone makes now to support your position. Your position now, here, 2025, working backwards towards Christ. That takes a lot of manipulation, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. I could burn right through it in 2 seconds. That's what this video is about. It's so easy. And you can have it too. It's not a power. It's just, you can't fool me. Those politicians don't fool me. People don't fool me. I was a salesman too. I can manipulate people. I can manipulate women. I used to be good looking. I could manipulate women. I could, about half of them. More than half the people that I sold products to, I could really get in their heads and push buttons. It's not hard. That's what your preacher is doing to you. They might not be aware of it, but naturally, some people are naturally good with it. Like if you have a person who's a natural good speaker, they're good at manipulating people. That's what that means. Hitler was really good at manipulating people, but it was natural. And he said the right things. He said the wrong things because of the time. But then the wrong things that he was saying at that time, the situation changed. Like the stock market crash. That's what put the National Socialist Democrats, they're Democrats, into power. Because all of a sudden the stuff he started saying, oh wow. All of a sudden this makes a lot of sense. Right? The atmosphere changed. It is the same thing over and over and over again with all you people. And for the disciples of Christ, the one that's, you need to get out of that. You need to get away from it. Everyone says, well, Jesus would be a Democrat. No, Jesus wouldn't care about the politics. He wouldn't care at all. I guarantee you that. He'd give two craps. Because he would say the same thing I think I'm saying. You've missed the point entirely. These games that people play, they put you in a position. There's a story about it in the Gospels where Jesus was put between a rock and a hard place. You see how he got out of that? It'd be the same thing. You need to get out of it too. Don't let people manipulate you. And don't listen to me. Listen to God. You have the ability to talk to the creator of the world, to be taught by the creator of the world, to be guided by the creator of the entire universe. Why would you want to listen to what I say? You want to talk about it, that's great. But then there's these people that tell him what it is. I know they don't have a relationship with God. I could tell. Because they're lying. Even the Slade Stone guy. Someone disagrees with me. Come down here and give us your argument. He is giving an argument. I don't speak Raven. Do you speak Raven? But he's a fraud. He's lying. He's giving a good argument, isn't he? Come down here. Oh, it's a Blue Jay. Not a Stellar's Jay. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. These people. On the surface, it seems like they're real slick and they know what they're talking about. And that's how they present themselves. And they're good at doing it. And Slade Stone is good at presenting arguments and talking about it. He's very good. I've learned a couple things that I didn't realize before because of the way they use these words. It hasn't really been a topic that I've really been paying attention to, but the point is, it's just like the Steve Gregg. You are maybe right about 80% and honest about 99%, but if you aren't honest with that 1%, what's the point? What's the point? And the thing is that people don't really understand is when they do that consciously, they're giving that, I'll call it evilness, that thing, they give it a home inside of them, and that's where it stays. That's how I know God isn't there. God isn't going to share the same place with something evil, something that you're concealing. I know he's not listening to you. When you lie about this one thing, and when someone like me comes around and exposes it, and I do it on purpose, just to screw with that evil thing. Not necessarily the person, but the thing that's inside of them. That's what I'm screwing with. I know what it is. I can see it. It's not always readily available, but when you hang around long enough, you'll see it. And it will come out of them. It will rise up out of them, and it will control them. It will push their buttons. They think it's them, but it's not. It's the thing that they've given a home to, and they're lying, and they know it is, and they're freaking out because I'm shedding light on it. I'm exposing it. Apparently, that's what I do for a living now. That's the retired life. It's either that or play some video game. That's all the retired people that have these little video games they play. I do too. I play video games too much, more than I used to. But when I screw with these people, it comes out of them. You can see it, and it's not even them anymore. It's that alter ego. It's vicious. It's afraid, and it lashes out at you. You'll see it all the time. You'll see it in your parents. You'll see it in your preachers. You'll see it around the Christian community, just lashing out. You'll see something like it in, I don't know, Lord of the Rings or something like that. It will come out of them. Evil. It's because you're exposing something. Something that happened in my family, the cousins were like, we don't believe in Jesus. We don't believe in God. That's stupid, blah, blah, blah. And then an aunt of mine said, well, you might regret it. You might regret that someday, Pretty bad. But in another situation, the same person was being told that the Virgin Mary wasn't really a virgin. She freaked out. Think about that. She knows God's real. She knows Jesus is real. So that's fine. Doesn't seem so sure about the Virgin Mary being an actual virgin. And it doesn't even matter anyway. Man, it really lit her up. And I see that happen all the time with all these people. They just freak out. On the social media, they kind of have to watch themselves. But they've also exposed themselves, exposed the way they handle things. It's not at all uncommon. And I don't know why they do it. How could you call yourself a disciple of Christ? How could you have God dwelling inside of you? How could you be learning and turning away from yourself and towards God when you're doing that? It doesn't work that way. I guarantee you. I'll bet my life on it. I'll bet my salvation on it. How's that? Because it just doesn't. That's not how it functions. That's not how it works. It just doesn't. I mean, look at the material again. Look at the material. Look at the way he talks. The part where he says, the demon. I can't remember. The demons are cast out, and they go out to find water in arid places. But when they come back, they'll find the place cleaned up and swept. That part I can't remember where it is right now, but I remember these stories better than I can remember where it is and the verse and all that and exactly what it says. But again, like I'm saying, it is the story, it's the meaning that you need to get from these stories. Those are what stays with you. The meaning of it, and you bear witness to it in some way. And even though I can't remember it that well, I still did say, I think I understand that. And what I think I remember and that understanding is, it will leave. And obviously someone has been there, Christ, and he's cleaned the place up. But when they come back, he's not there. They'll find it clean and cleaned up, swept, I think it was the word. But he's not there. He's not there. And I'm pretty sure it's the same way with everything else. You know, the girlfriend breaks up with you and you feel all bad about it, and then you're like, oh God, and then your girlfriend calls you back the next day because some other guy she liked didn't work out. So I guess she'll come back to you, and you'll take her back. You're a coward, or your boyfriend, or it doesn't matter who it is. And then you feel good again, and you don't need God anymore, right? Why would he take you seriously? If you go to a bar and you meet a girl and she's like, yeah, I like you. You say, okay, cool. There's some other girls around here. I want to talk to them, and we'll see how it works out. Do you think she's gonna take? She's not gonna take you serious. She's willing, but she's not gonna take you serious. If you say, I'm gonna mix God and yoga and smooth jazz all together, I don't know. It doesn't work that way. God's not sharing anything with anybody. He could care less. I think he could really care less. If you get it, that's great. You will be everything to him if you get it. If you're not, what's he going to do for you? He can move some things around to get you to understand. I know he's done that with me. You know, I'm surprised I'm not paralyzed. And do you get it now? Thank God. I wasn't that bad. But he does change some things around. I think he will if he can get you. If he's like, if I did this, he or she is gonna understand. Ladies too. He or she, really, when I mean he or she, I mean humans, because we are all the same. We're different. Our shells are different, but we're all the same inside. That child, it's a sexless child. Just the image of it. It seems, but you know, if I do this, are they going to get it, or are they not? That's all it is. If you went to work with someone, and you had two people, one of them just they're really good at everything and they know everything, but they don't listen. But then you got another person who's young and maybe just came over illegally, across the border and doesn't have any of their own tools, and but he'll listen to everything you say. He's always got his safety glasses on and his helmet, and he always screws up, always makes a mess, but he doesn't do it on purpose. He doesn't. He's trying, and he's listening to everything you're saying. You will care more about that person who screws up all the time than the person who knows everything. And that's kind of how I see God when he's looking at us. Give me someone that will just listen to everything and believe everything that I say. I can work with that person. I can't work with people telling me what the Bible says. You walk up to them and you say something, they're like, nope, that's wrong. I'm a Calvinist and I know everything. And I don't know why these religions don't catch on. It's funny how they don't catch on. You are one in millions of people, billions of people that have lived on this planet, and you're part of some organization. How do you know you're right more than anyone else? And that's the thing. I look at it myself. How do I know that I'm right more than anyone else? I'm not. But I've looked at everything. I've looked at the possibilities. I can sit here and say, nope, it's not that. Or it could be that. Maybe, maybe in this instance, I know all the subtle variations. I think, is that the right way of saying it? It could be this, it could be that. That's possible. That's possible. But that is not possible. That's not possible. That is impossible. I don't even think that's something. I've even said that. I'm like, I don't even think that's something that's in the New Testament. Where are you getting this? Oh, it's, of course, the Old Testament. Oh, okay. Well, that's like Mordor stuff over there. The Old Testament. I don't really read the Old Testament because why? It's a dead religion. Who cares? But if you're bored and you're 100 years old and you're sitting in your jail cell, then fine, you got the time. But it's not important. It's not even relevant. You're not going to be able to understand what Jesus is saying any better by reading the Old Testament. I guarantee you, it's just a waste of time. Jesus is where it's at, and Jesus is all that matters. If someone disagrees with him, then they're wrong. If someone tries to bring Paul into the conversation of what Jesus is saying, if Paul agrees with him, why would you even bring him in the first place? But obviously people bring him in to make an argument. Well, then Paul's wrong. I doubt Paul would agree with you. It doesn't sound like Paul would go against Christ. I've very carefully listened to what he's said. The guy's a fanatic. He's not going to go against Christ. No. I understand he describes things a little different, but what the hell do you know? Like all these doctors. Dr. Ehrman. Dr. So-and-so, whoever this other guy is. Give me a break. This is the New Testament. And all that education is pointless. It's garbage. It really is. You could know everything just by reading the Gospels. You can know more than all those people do. What matters? But all that other stuff is just useless information. Vespasian said this. Good for him. They try to come up with a later date for Revelation. I'm not saying it's wrong, but who cares? I mean, you're taking an exterior view of something that's not even really historical. It's not really a historical fact. You can make it into it. And that's the thing. They deal like Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman is a professional bullshitter. That's what he is. He'd be a great trial attorney for like P. Diddy or something like that. The guy's a bullshitter. They all are. That's what a scholar is. A lying, manipulative bullshitter. Like a politician. That's all they're good for. The information is nothing. The information is death. The guy at least was under the impression of being a Christian, and then someone catered to his ego, and he became that ego. And that's the Bart Ehrman you see today. Not a real person. He's just his alter ego that they caressed out of him. People do that all the time, especially in universities. That's how the communists work. That's how the Central Intelligence works. It's a huge game in those universities. Trust me, I know. It's a big recruiting, and who can we use to our advantage, and how can we, like Barack Obama. I'm sure they've known about that guy for a long time, and when the time was right, and he served his purpose, and now it's off to someone else. We had the Clintons, and then the Obamas, and then we'll probably have some other dynasty they'll come up with. It's just manipulation. I don't know why people can't see it. I mean, someone that agrees to abortion, who actually goes out, says we need to be able to abort children. The night before he comes into your church and I believe in Jesus. I'm a Christian, like Joe Biden. What a bunch of bullshit! How dare you, all you people? You're going straight to hell. I can tell you that, if there is one. I mean, that's the other thing. I don't know if there really is one or not, but if there's a fire somewhere, you're going in it. Trust me. I mean, how could you be that dumb? And it's the same thing. It's just these people, these Christians that I've been talking about, even myself. And that's what I'm constantly looking out for. I'm like, am I really hearing what this person's saying, or am I just rejecting it because, you have to put the time in? I do. Because you don't want to be one of these people. You have something else. You have God and his kingdom. And it's invisible. These people don't have a kingdom. They have they have whatever they can sink their claws into. And that's what they are. You look at these Hollywood people again. You know, they get up popular. Oh, they're so great, and then they fall, and they love it. Oh, Britney's doing this now. Oh, hello, you know, they love it. They're animals, and these people manipulate them. They know that they're just looking. They're looking for a Barack Obama. They're looking for a substitute Jesus, and they found it. How could you be so stupid? The Nazis did the same thing. Hitler was a substitute. They're all just substitutes for something that the people are told that they want, but they don't know. People these days, especially these days, people they don't know anything outside of what their cell phone tells them. They don't know anything. They know nothing. Just a bunch of stupid people walking around. I guess I'll take option B today. You know, I'll flip a coin and we'll see if it's heads or tails. I mean, they're just hanging by a thread. All it seems like everyone. The amount of people that are on antidepressants and anxiety pills and all that kind. I mean, that group we're talking about 30% of the population that we know of that are actually using it for in the way it's prescribed. Horrible, horrible. And and you look at our country um, again with the abortion. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, the Nazis! They were such bad people, horrible, because they killed all those Jews and all those people." Do you know how many children are being murdered every day in this country through abortion? Think about it. You're a little child. You're in your mother's womb, and you're looking for protection and love. And next thing you know, some coat hangers being jammed up in your room, and you're being torn out of there. That's murder. And I know because guess what? I didn't get an abortion, but I had a girlfriend who got an abortion, and I'm pretty sure it was mine. Maybe it wasn't, but that's not an excuse. But I was there. I was in that abortion clinic down here in Portland, Oregon, about I don't know, 20 years ago. Because everyone tells you it's just like another form of birth control. And I wanted it done because I didn't want a kid with her. That's the selfish part, right? And I remember being in there. I remember sitting down. I was the only guy. I was the only guy that worked there or that was in there. And there was a man outside with a sign that says, you know, there's options or alternatives. I don't know, but he was outside, just quietly holding a sign. I remember I need to keep her away from him so she doesn't get upset, so I don't have to listen to her. But I was sitting in that, and I remember a lady next to me, this Asian lady, and she was just crying. Everyone was crying. Wasn't a happy place. I don't know how you could work there. Was not a happy place. This is not loving your neighbor. This is murder, and they knew it. I didn't see any religious paraphernalia on these people, but I remember it. It's clear as day. This is not something good. But everyone goes along with it, just like the Nazis. We kill more people in this country through abortion than Hitler ever could. I bet. I bet in this world, what were the numbers? I bet we kill in America and Europe, the European Union, you know, kind of like Canada. I bet we kill more people in 1 year through abortion than all the Jews murdered in the concentration camps combined. We can just go with that. Forget about the gypsies and all the other people that were victims, the war victims, secondary victims. We kill more people. I bet you we kill more people just in the United States of America through abortion than all the Jews killed in concentration camps by the Nazis. People go along with it. People go along with it. That's how stupid people are. They just come up with an excuse for it, just like everyone else. These things are called humanisms. That's what it is. This, when you talk to a religious person, they say, "Oh no, that's not that. It's this. Oh, it's the rapture." That's just a humanism. And humans can come up with an excuse for anything, but you, as a disciple, you don't do that anymore. There's no more excuses. There's, what do you have to teach me, Lord? What do you have to say to me? What can I learn from you? Right? That's how you learn. That's how you get into the kingdom of heaven. That's what they call it. That's another thing that I wrestle with. But kingdom of God on earth, kingdom of heaven is heaven, New Jerusalem on earth, Jerusalem that already existed in heaven. I mean, is that really it or not? I don't know. But you don't really know. But you're open to it. You're open to it, and you think. And if something does happen, you'll notice, and you'll think about it, and you'll reflect upon it, and you'll pray. What does that mean? I saw this old lady today, and this happened, and there's something about it. I don't know. What was that? Teach me. You see how that works? It's not outward. No one cares what you think. No one cares what I think. Unless they're saying the exact same thing you are, or they agree with you. But then that's okay. Because everyone's looking to be agreed with. Everyone's looking to talk like me. I'm sitting here, and I'm talking to you. I'm just getting it out. Maybe you hear me, maybe you don't, maybe you learn something, maybe you don't. But my emphasis here is you need to pray to God. You need that relationship. And the difference between the lives of Christians and the lives of an actual disciple of the words of Christ, which are the words of our Father in heaven. That's the difference. It's a huge difference, and people don't realize it. They just defend their own positions. If I took a position of the Bible, and it could be wrong, but I took it anyway because that's what my church believes in, it's pointless. It's not going to get me anywhere. And people don't realize that. That's what's the other funny part. I don't think people realize this stuff. There's certain women, like I see women at the gym, there's a couple of them there. They've been around the block. They're about 30, 35, 40, 45, something like that, maybe 55. Guys will come up to them, "Hey baby, please, I know who you are. I know what you're after because I'm dressing that way to attract you. But I don't want you. I want whoever." I don't know why they dress that. They want to attract someone, but they don't want to attract you. They don't want to attract a guy like me. If I went up to him, talked to him that way, and I do talk to him, "Hey, how's it going?" Not really, because they're not interested. I think they're just being nice. Well, I've seen that guy. He's just, "Oh, Merry Christmas to you too." That's it. I talked to a couple of them, but you can't fool them. They've been around the block. When a guy comes up to them, they know what's going on. They see what they're immediately. They see what they're after, and they're very defensive about it. You can't fool them, and it's the same thing. It's just like anything else, like your kids. Your kids come home, they say something. It's like, "Yeah, I don't think so, pal." I got eyes in the back of my head. It's very easy to spot, but it's also not so easy. You can be manipulated, just like everyone else on this planet has been manipulated. The only way you can get away from that manipulation is to be in a place where you're protected from that manipulation. And that is the kingdom of God. That is next to God. That is with God. Your relationship with God. That's your insurance policy. That's your insulation. I would describe it more like you're in a bubble. The Revelation 21 said tabernacle. That kind of like, that makes sense. Because it does. It feels like there's a bubble over me, around me. I feel like I'm on a ship on a side where there's nothing there. It's just trees. It's just, but there's a dock and there's a ship. And on the other side of this lake or bay or whatever it is, it's like on the other side is like New York City. Okay, there's a city there, and you're on the ship. You sat down. There's a big window there, and you're just sitting there. God is the captain. Jesus is the co-captain, and you're just sitting there staring out into this world that you're a part of, but you're not a part of. Does that make sense? You can see it, it's there, but you're not a part of it anymore. You're on the other side of it. You have to sit there and watch all the horrors and all the things that happen. And it's hard not to get caught up. But it's a big difference, and you can tell the difference. I spoke about this in the other video that I made earlier. But it's just, how could you attain? How could you truly persevere if you're not persevering, I guess? These doctors, these professionals, these YouTube personalities, and they're not great numbers. And I kind of get fearful when I see more subscribers. I'm not saying you don't have to, you shouldn't. I mean, I really don't care, but it gets concerning when there's more people paying attention to what I'm saying. I'm not really going for that. I'm just sharing some things with you, sharing some facts that I've learned, pointing out the things that people do, and it exists. It exists. I doubt anyone's listening to what I'm saying now. I doubt they ever will. But this information exists for you to listen to. Just like if Jesus said it to you. Or someone with authority. I don't have that authority. But it's just for your consideration. Think about it. Think about the world you're in. Because a lot of people don't know. That's why the child inside of you gets destroyed. Because they don't know this stuff until Father Leo, sticks his penis in your mouth and says it's holy. What's that new Pope's name? I mean, these people, they're horrible people. And they're pedophiles. And everyone knows it, but they don't care. Joe Biden's a pedophile. I mean, look at his son. You think people get like that just because they're sad? It doesn't work that way. That Hunter Biden has been sexually assaulted. And when I look at him, I see a child. I do. I don't think he's an evil person. His brother was, and thank God he died. That Bo guy, that guy was evil. But Hunter, and his sister, I can't remember her name, and they're all losers because their parents destroyed them. Look at the Clintons' kid. Look at the Obama family. They're losers. They don't do anything. They just sit around and probably take antidepressants all day long. I don't know what they do. But they're losers. They don't have any lives. And these things happen right in front of you. And people don't even realize it. And what's worse yet is they actually normalize it. It becomes normal. They can't even see it. Joe Biden's a sex predator, and no one knows. They know, but they don't. Oh, well, it's just like it's called cognitive dissonance. Oh, well, that's just ridiculous. How could you prove that? How can I prove it? Every time Joe Biden sees a kid, he goes over there, like my cat. When she sees a bird, you can't touch her tail or her leg or anything like that. But she sees a bird and she jumps up and starts, the little noise she makes. I can pull on her tail, I can touch her leg, I can do whatever I want to her, and she's not even there because she's fixated on it. And when I see Joe Biden and when he sees a kid, he's just like my cat. He's fixated on it. He just goes over there, hey, little girl, are you 18? I saw this years ago. His own was that Jeff Reed? They had some children, and Joe Biden comes a running to help out with something, and he put himself right in between Joe and that kid and escorted her off. I think it was his granddaughter. He knows. He knows what type of person he is. It's so obvious. And I don't even know anything about child sex stuff. It never happened to me. I don't know of anyone. And I feel sorry for the people. I mean, like I'm addicted to food and I like women and but could you imagine being like attracted to children? I think about the gay people. It's like I don't. I look at a guy. I don't see anything sexual there. I just don't. That'd be horrible. Having to stick your penis in another guy's butt, then have him do it to you. Why? Same thing with kids. It's like why? Why would you want to do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. But people do it all the time, and I could see it, and I don't know why no one else can see it, but they can see it, but they ignore it. They come up with an excuse. God knows about that excuse. And these Christians, they're not different. It's the same shit, different story, different person. But you need to understand the difference. Not in the ways that I've been speaking, but the difference in being honest with God when you pray. You have to be, like Jesus said, there'll come a time where you'll worship God in spirit and truth. Okay? It's spiritual, prayer, and truth. You need to be honest. But you got to be honest with yourself. Not like all these other people that just pretend. All these people are frauds. I can't imagine what they get up to at night. And it's everybody. It's like everybody. It's everybody. I haven't met one person on the YouTube or anything that just, maybe they're not evil. And I don't think any of these people that I've been talking to are really evil. They sure as hell are not concerned about misrepresenting the facts, which I would be. I'm very concerned. And I'm speaking theologically here. So that's my excuse, right? But I am being honest. Maybe it applies, maybe it doesn't. But I've seen it in my own life. You need to be careful. You need to be careful of these people. You can go to church, you can be around these people, but if you know something's wrong, say something. If you see someone doing something to a kid, say something. Don't just say, well, that's the president, so he can do whatever he wants. Why do they get a pass? Trump doesn't get a pass. Trump's got decent kids, I guess. But he doesn't get a pass. But everyone else gets a pass. It's funny. And they're all pretty evil people. They are. And I don't mean to pick on Democrats. It's not really just the Democrats. That's just a name. But it's the style. It's the people. It's the way they are conducting themselves. The way they are burning through our world. It's like a disease. It's like a wildfire disease that's spreading. And it's just the same nonsense disguised as something else. And it just comes back and it comes back. And I guarantee you, God, he's only going to let it go so far. But he's not going to protect those people. He might protect some. But the people you've never heard of, like in World War II, the people that just lived in the countryside of Germany and weren't really affected by anything or food shortages, you never hear about those people. You never hear about those people because they were protected. They never had to make a decision. They never had to, be involved. And God protects you too, but he's not going to protect you if You're lying to yourself. You're lying. He doesn't want that type of person. He doesn't want the type of person that says, it's this. So says it. So says the Lord. What do they say all the time? This is God's word. This is God's word. I hear it so many times. You hear that, turn the radio off. Get up and walk away. This is the word of God. I mean, they're brainwashing you. All those poor old ladies. Oh no, this is the word of God. I mean, it's amazing. It really is. The type of reaction from people. It's like, what do you have to lose? And I don't go around trying to convince people. I really don't. But I call certain people out. They're not used to it. And they don't know how to handle it. And they certainly can't use facts. It kind of reminds me of that story where in the New Testament, I think they were sent out, and then they came back, and he's like, "We have power over demons and all this kind of stuff." And Jesus says, "Don't be amazed by that." And I can't remember what the rest was. It was more like, just be thankful. I can't remember, but it's the same thing. It's like me. I'm amazed at how much I know and how much I learned. But just concentrating on one little part of the New Testament, just the 3 Gospels. I read everything else in the New Testament. I know what it says. I may not know what it means, but the Gospels, and here I am. I'm saying I know all this stuff about the Gospels, but there's parts of it I can't remember exactly where it is, but I remember the story. So that's what I'm saying. You can remember this stuff when it bears witness to you. And in the story, you're saying, don't get taken up by the power you have. And it's like me too. It's like, I have a power, but I'm not going to use it for evil, and I'm not really enthralled by it. Like, oh, I have power. I'm going to start calling myself Dr. Cody. No, because it's not me. It's really not. And I'm doing it in order to help people see what I'm seeing. Does that make sense? I just want you to see through the nonsense. And I'm saying it all these different ways, and I could probably say what I'm trying to say in a minute and 17 seconds instead of an hour in 17 minutes. And I'm just droning on, but there's different ways you can look at things. And all I could say to encapsulate everything is, be as close to God as possible. And if it's not working, you're the problem. Be honest. And go to Him in prayer. Just simple prayer. Just talk to Him. Like you're calling your grandpa. Hey, Grandpa, think about joining the military. I know you're in the military. Give me some advice. It's just like that. It's no different. It's not. You don't have to be in the front of the Virgin Mary and do your rosary things. It's not that. You can be on the moon and pray to God, and be as close to Him as possible, and be as honest with yourself and with Him as possible. And that's it. And listen and be guided. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I was retired by God, and I was able to start learning and finding things out like Luke 17:21. I just found that. It took me over a year and thousands of dollars to figure out what it really meant. And it really meant what it said. But now I have proof. You give that proof to other people, and they're like, "Oh, I don't agree." Why? I don't know. That's not what my church says it is. That's not my belief. Well, is it your Bible or is it God's Bible? And you need to be aware of that, because these people will lie to you. They're nice people, but even this Slade Stone guy, I've seen it come out of him already. And he harps on, love your neighbor, love, 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 love. But then he does stuff like that. It's unfortunate. But I hope people in the end get it, and I hope you get it. And just stay close to God, pray to Him, and you'll be protected. Take care.